And action! Hey everybody, Daniel Carbael here. This is my YouTube channel, Daniel Carbael Music. Today I just wanted to talk about an experience that I have had and a lot of people I know have had, and I know a lot of people out there have had or will have at some point, and that is basically graduating from what would be considered a top-tier music school. I went to Berklee College of Music. I graduated in 2011. I have been out of school for 3 years now. So to any of you who are thinking about going to a school like that, or people who are in a school like that, this video is just from my experience and the experience of the people that I know and am close with and kept in touch after graduation, what to expect when you graduate a top-tier music school. So I'm gonna put a disclaimer on this. I'm not looking at this video as a thing where I'm gonna preach to people and say, hey guys, if you do exactly what I tell you, this is how you'll make $1 billion and you'll be awesome and everyone will love you. Because like I said, I've been out of school for 3 years and I am still really struggling to have some sort of success in this industry. I've done a lot of really cool work since I've been graduated, but I'm still not at the point where I'm actually happy with where my career is. Secondly, this is a video more so for people who go to school with the intention of graduating with a degree related to performance or related to kind of producing records, which is what I studied in college. People who are making media for public consumption. People who want a career in entertainment. Now, there's a lot of great and really, really admirable careers in music that don't fall on that path. Music therapy is a really, really great one. It's really taking off. Music business, of course, you need business. Music is a business. Music education as well. Teaching. Teachers are so important. Without teachers, there would be no schools. And without schools, there would be no me making this video wearing my Berklee shirt. For those occupations, a degree is very, very, very important because oftentimes you will go on to secondary education to get a master's or even a PhD. So that is very important. I'm not saying to anyone, regardless of what your major is, don't graduate because it's stupid. You hear that a lot at Berklee. Well, you graduated, so you must have been a failure. It's not true. Let's end the discussion of whether or not graduating is the right call. This video is purely my examples of expectations of when you do graduate. So let's get to it. Number one, if your phone isn't blowing up with gig offers and opportunities, and if people are not banging down your door to try to get you on a record, and that's the case before you graduate, not much is gonna change after you actually do graduate. The degree itself doesn't make people more attracted to you as a musician. Your skill, your musicianship, how easy it is to work with you, your general attitude, that's what gets people asking you to do things. Not saying, well, I didn't have a degree last week, but now I do, so I'm 10 times more awesome. People really don't care. People are very, very simple in the sense they want someone who can do the job. They want someone who's gonna do it better than anyone else that they could have asked, and also be a good person about it. Number two, and let me reiterate, this is solely talking about people who are going into the performance and the studio recording and performing in the studio, and people who, you know, want to be solo artists and everything like that. That being said, number two, basically having your degree does not mean that you are great at music all of a sudden. The degree is a piece of paper that says that you worked hard enough to get through a certain level of academia, and you have passed to the extent that was expected of you. I know a lot of people who do not have degrees in music, who have had no formal education in music, who are absolutely amazing and phenomenal musicians. I know a lot of people who have degrees that they could stack as high as the Eiffel Tower that have areas that are lacking. It's not looking at the degree and saying, hey, this degree has made me a good musician. No, you make you a good musician. The degree is something that happens along your path. So don't take that degree and say, I must be a good musician, check out my degree. Because people don't like that, it comes off as egotistical. Number 3, people will almost always certainly hire people that they know over people that they don't. That sounds like a very simple thing, but that relates to number 2. Your degree isn't necessarily an in. Having that degree is helpful because it does, ease some people's kind of skepticism about necessarily hiring you, because they do know that you've at least put in the time to get a piece of paper that says, I graduated from this. But they're gonna go with the guy that they know who's done good work for them before they go with some random person who just graduated from a music school. Number 4. So here's the deal. You're in a band in college. Everyone at my school was in bands. Everyone at my school was in 4 or 5 bands, probably at the same time. Your band will probably break up when you graduate. The reason being is that graduation kind of triggers this response of fight, flight, freeze type thing. So people will generally either do one of those 3 things. And oftentimes that means that people will kind of spread out all the way across the map. So your band might not last. Even if you guys have been together for a long time, that graduation thing definitely throws a wrench in the gears. Which brings me to number 5. Now, number 5 relates to number 4 again, in the sense that a lot of people, including yourself, will start to become really selfish after graduation. Because you realize that I'm kind of on my own now. I'm not in this school program where I can have accomplishment after accomplishment just by passing classes and doing well and playing gigs. I'm no longer a student. And that's a big change that I even experienced. And you tend to become kind of selfish, and you tend to become kind of like the world revolves around me because it needs to. A little bit of that isn't a bad thing. It means that you do have some self-confidence a lot of the time, but too much of that and you end up kind of pushing everything away and you kind of end up isolated and alone. I know it sounds a little bit extreme, but it's an experience that I know a lot of people have gone through. So number 6, the thing about number 6 is this is something that I can speak on very personally. Self-motivation will become really, really difficult for a lot of people. When you're in school, you constantly have people telling you, do this, do that, do this, you do it well, they say, good job, on to the next thing. It's a task-oriented thing. It's accomplish this, accomplish that. The end accomplishment is graduating and getting that degree. After that, everything's kind of up to you. For a lot of people, myself included, that's sort of like something that is kind of confusing. It's like, well, I don't have anyone telling me what I should do now. On a specific level, it's very easy to say, well, start playing, make a CD, sell 1 million copies, go platinum, win a Grammy. Those are very broad concepts. We're talking about, coming from, however many years that you were in school of very, very specific tasks that you needed to accomplish. And all of a sudden, in one day and one walk across the stage and one flip of the tassel thing, you don't have a direction anymore necessarily. And that was really, really hard for me. It actually took me about a year after graduating to gain some sort of understanding into how I could motivate myself and accomplish things on my own. So number 7 is a kind of a piece of advice wrapped in an expectation. The thing to expect is that your accomplishments that you had during school within the confines of your university's program really don't necessarily mean much when you're actually out of school. And the way that I say that is when you're not a student anymore, the school still cares about you in a sense, but you're not really paying them, so they sort of are like, okay, whatever. They prefer to give opportunities to students at the time because that's kind of the right thing to do. The advice part of that, take the time when you're in school and kind of broaden outside of the bubble that is school. We used to call it the Berkeley bubble. You get into this element where it's very hard for you to kind of expand outside because you're doing so much inside the bubble, but the real opportunities that are going to extend beyond the time that you're in school happen outside of the bubble. Do your stuff in school, but also make it relatable to people outside of it. Gig outside of the school type of venues that every band at your school gigs at. Record an EP. that you can actually use outside of school and something that you would be proud of to release after you graduate. And it's a product that you can market and everything like that. It'll go a long way into helping ease that transition into post-graduation life. Number 8, be open to working with new people. It's going to be very strange being for 4 years or however long it took you in a university where you have your people that you work with. You know that everyone's sort of on the same page as you because you've come up for the last however many years learning sort of the same way. Not everyone learns the same way in every school. Not every program teaches the same way. And that can be kind of tricky when you get out of school and you start working with people that came from a different background as you. And by background, I mean educational background. You know, you can't speak to people necessarily the same way as you did your peers at your university. You have to develop some other type of connection. That can start when you're in school. There's no reason why you shouldn't be playing with other musicians that are outside of your school, local musicians, musicians from other universities in your area. Do whatever you can to integrate yourself with other people so you don't become so isolated with your one specific way of thinking about things. Number 9? That's 9. Number 9, you will probably, unless you're a handful of people, have to work at a job outside of music. And when I say outside of music, I don't necessarily mean completely devoid of the music industry. I mean outside of what you really, really want to do in music. When I graduated, I was 20 years old, and I had absolutely no clue how to even start doing this stuff. As a 20-year-old, I didn't feel like I could approach people and, you know, petition them for work. It was very, very difficult. So I had to work a few series of random odd jobs to supplement my income until I kind of got the ball rolling a little more on the music thing. And I'm still in that position. But the biggest piece of advice I can give is leave yourself time for your music. It's impossible for me, because I've been there, to work a full-time job and also do anything related to music. It's just kind of, I exhaust myself working, and the last thing I want to do is exhaust myself again with the process that it is to develop some type of career in music. It's really hard. Some people can do it. I personally can't, and I surely cannot be the only one that can't. Leave yourself time. Live below your means for a while. Live in a cheapo apartment with 100,000 roommates, and so that you can afford to work, you know, not full time, and it'll give you more time to expand what's going on with your music. There's way too many people that I meet, that I went to school with, who graduated from school, and you ask them what they're doing, and they're saying, oh, I work full time at this so-and-so thing until I can get my music up and running. It's gonna take you forever to get your music up and running if you have to work full time. That's my experience. I'm not saying that that's true for everyone, or maybe it's not true for anyone, but that's just my experience, and I'm just letting you guys know that that is something that you will probably have to expect, not in a bad way. We all have to support ourselves, and sometimes working outside of music can give you actually more motivation when you can actually take the time to do the music. Number 10, I forgot to do it. 10, you will probably panic, and you will probably think about either giving up or going back to school to study something that has a little bit more of an immediate reward to it. I know that this has happened to so many people. You graduate immediately, you realize that, oh my God, the future is looking kind of bleak, and what you immediately do is sort of jump into something else instantly. Music is a lifelong investment, and it's one of the most rewarding careers that you could possibly have. It does take a lot of time to get to where you want to go. And if you even look at a lot of these people who do have, you know, the Grammys and the super success and everything, a lot of them don't necessarily even think that they've made it to where they want to make it yet. So it doesn't end. I think you're always looking for something better, and it's just a matter of time and putting in the work and making the right choices to get there. Don't turn tail and run on the whole music thing because it gets difficult as soon as you graduate. That's going to be the most difficult time, which is the whole point of this video. So don't give up and stick with it, and you'll find where you fit in the whole equation. On the other side of that, you might find that maybe the music thing isn't necessarily right for you after all, but don't shortchange yourself and make that decision just at the start of your career. Unless, of course, you really, really hate it, but you probably should figure that out actually during school. Biggest piece of advice, don't quit. Just don't do it. We've all been there where we think, maybe this isn't right for me. You just need to reassess something and find an aspect of it that you actually enjoy. Now, I hope that this video was at least entertaining, at least somewhat insightful. Maybe if you're about to graduate, it kind of relieves some of the anxiety that you're experiencing, or if you've just graduated and you find yourself in one of these positions where you're stressed out and you don't know what the future holds, just stick with it. It will get better. There's a way that these things end up working. Just whatever you do it because you like it. Don't force yourself to do something because, that's what other people have told you has worked for them. Your path is kind of your own, and you have to sort of carve that path out for yourself and not follow in someone else's footsteps, because your opportunities are your opportunities. Other people's opportunities are their opportunities. So take that as a lesson and don't follow blindly people who have had success doing it one way, because that way might not work for you at all. Again, thank you for listening. I'll be doing a couple more of these just about different topics. So stay tuned on the channel. If you agree with me on certain things, or if you have anything else that you think I missed, if you're a graduate or about to graduate, or any further questions, contact me, go on my website, send me an email, comment here. I'll definitely get back to you. I do read all the comments. And until next time, we'll see you guys later.